In a quiet little town nestled between rolling green hills and a sparkling river, there lived a fierce dog named Max and a cunning cat named Whiskers. Max belonged to the town's baker, who always kept him well fed with scraps of bread and meat. Whiskers, on the other hand, was a stray who survived by sneaking into kitchens and stealing fish or leftover food. Max and Whiskers despised each other. Every time Whiskers tried to sneak past the bakery, Max would bark furiously, chasing him away with his sharp teeth and loud growls. The cat, just as sly, would always find a way to outsmart Max, dodging his attacks and hissing at him from the safety of a high fence. But one winter, disaster struck. A great storm swept through the town, flooding the river and closing the bakery. The baker had to leave town for a while, and Max was left without his usual meals. Whiskers, too, found it harder to find food, as the storm had driven many people indoors, locking away their delicious leftovers. For days, both animals grew weaker. Max's stomach rumbled as he lay shivering near the bakery's door. Whiskers, desperate and exhausted, crouched under an old cart, too hungry to move one fateful night. They met again, not as enemies, but as two starving creatures, desperate for a meal. Max, too weak to chase, simply stared at Whiskers. The cat, sensing no danger, cautiously stepped closer. For the first time, they looked at each other not with hatred, but with understanding. Whiskers had seen a fallen basket of bread near the market, but it was too heavy for him to carry alone. Max, with his strength, could help. Slowly, as if testing fate, Whiskers meowed softly, gesturing toward the market. Max hesitated, then got up and followed. Together they reached the basket. Whiskers clawed at the fabric holding it shut, while Max used his strong jaws to tear it open. Inside were pieces of stale bread and a small chunk of dried meat. It wasn't much, but to them, it was a feast. That night, for the first time, they ate side by side. No growling, no hissing, just the quiet sound of two former enemies sharing a meal. From that day on, Max and Whiskers were never the same. They still had their playful chases, but they no longer fought with true anger. Instead, Whiskers would bring small bits of food he found, and Max would let him curl up beside him for warmth on cold nights. Hunger had brought them together, but friendship kept them that way forever.